The mind. The mind or intellect is called in Arabic aql, hijr, such as the saying of Allah, هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر. Is there within those aforementioned swears a swear that convinces the intelligent one? The hijr? Is there in amongst those swears in Surah Al-Fajr before this ayah, wal fajr, wa layalin ashr, wa shaf'i wal watr, etc. These swears, hal fi dhalika qasamun lidhi hijr. Is there amongst any of those swears a swear for someone who has a hijr, has an intellect? And also the mind is called in Arabic nuhya. And all of these words have the linguistic meaning of prevention. Nuhya, aql, and hijr. Nuhya, you hear it sounds like nahi, prohibition. Hijr, like the hajr in dealings. What's the case of hajr? When you're not allowed to use your own money. That's just an example. And aql has the meaning of prevention or being tied down or locked down. It was called as such because it prevents the same person from committing atrocities and doing what he should not do, or what they say, inhibitor, basically. The inhibition. Don't they say, oh, I got drunk and it lowered my inhibitions. Then I did such and such. It means it affected my mind and then enabled me to do what I would not normally do. That's the aql. Though here we already know the mind is not evidence. The intellect, if someone listens to his mind, if someone takes heed to his own intellect, then it would stop him from some things. But the mind itself is not an intellect. It's not an evidence. The mind itself is not an evidence. For what's right and what's wrong. For what's right and what's wrong, that's what I mean. It's not evidence for what's right and what's wrong. So this is where some people get confused. This is where some people bring in the talk of morals. Morals are not evidence. Someone would say, don't you like find it wrong to kill someone, to murder someone, or like that? They say that's common sense. Your mind might kick in for you there to tell you not to, but it's not evidence. Like وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ. And when the girl who was buried alive is asked, بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. For what sin was she killed? And this is something even that was happening in the era of ignorance before they were accountable. Why she's asked. And those people are not accountable. There's something in themselves that why doing something like that, burying a baby girl alive, there's something that the human will be averse to, but he doesn't have an evidence though that it's wrong. Just he has a sense, some sense in him about him would urge him not to, and then he might disobey that. It was also called lub. The intellect was called lub, such as in the verse وَمَا يَذَّكَّرُ إِلَّا أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. No one will be admonished by it, by what's in that ayah, by what's in the subject of the verse, except those who have lubs, sound mind. Angels, humans, and genies have minds. Also, the people of paradise have minds, and we mean by them al-hurul ain and al-ghilman wal-mukhalladun. As Sheikh Samir told us, that those creatures have intellects. The animals, despite the intelligence that the blasphemers ascribe to some of them, like the ape and the dolphin, do not have minds. Also, the cat. This means that they do not have the ability to think and deduce. However, they have instinct and will, as well as souls. And they also, some of those animals, they have memory, and you can train them. That means you can teach them. They differed about whether the mind is a body or a quality. Those who said that the mind is a faculty, meaning that it is an ability, say that the mind is a quality. They say that it is a quality given to some creatures by which they distinguish the good from the bad. Those who said that it is a body said that it is a subtle body. It was said to be a light that illuminates a path that starts from where the realization of the senses end. What does that mean? Yani, Allah knows best. It means, and Allah knows best, your senses are input for you. But just what you get from your senses, you're not going to make sense of that only just from the senses. You need something to process that. So some said the mind is a light that illuminates a path. This path starts from where the realization of the senses end. So your mind, your senses are inputting information for you, sounds, visuals, etc. Those are all coming inside, and then, according to this, there awaits a light. Once that stuff gets to the light, then it gets processed. So it was said that the mind is a light that illuminates a path that starts from where the realization of the senses end. They also differed about its location. The philosophers, doctors, and Imam Ahmed, according to a narration from him, and Abu al-Mu'in al-Nasafi, say that it is in the brain. Sadr al-Islam ascribes this position to Ahlul Sunnah in general. He said, it is a subtle body that illuminates, and its place is the head, according to Ahlul Sunnah in general. Its effect falls on the heart, so that the heart realizes things by the light of the mind, just as the eye realizes things by the light of the sun or of the lantern. If the light gets weak, the realization gets weak. Yani, if the light weakens, the realization weakens. And if the light goes out, the realization goes away. Their proof is that a man would be hit on his head and then lose his mind. Yani, that's their argument. And had the mind not been there, it would not have gone away because of that. Just as if he were hit on his hand or foot, he would not lose his mind by that. Other scholars like Judge Abu Zayd as-Sarakhsi, the Hanafi, and Imam Ahmed, according to another narration, said that it is in the heart, that cone-shaped organ placed in the left side of the chest. Their evidence is the verse of the Quran, أَفَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَتَكُونَ لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ يَعْقِلُونَ بِهَا أَوْ آذَانٌ يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا. Did they not travel through the land so that they would have hearts by which they have minds, or ears by which they would hear? Yani, here in the ayah, just as the ears were made to be the tools by which they hear, the hearts were made to be the tools by which they think. يعقلون, by which they conceive, and other ayahs too. The response of the second group of scholars to the first, how do they answer that? Is that the brain has a link to the mind. And for this reason, a person may take a blow to the head and lose his mind. This does not necessitate that the mind is in the brain. That is similar to the castrated one. The loss of his testicles may prevent the growth of his facial hair. And that is only due to the link between them, not because of their locations. This is the stronger saying because it complies with what appears from the book of Allah, and this is what our Shaykh was upon. It is known that the religion of Allah does not come with what is mentally impossible. Everything that came in the religion is mentally acceptable or mentally approved. Mentally approved. Yani, what's possible is possible. What the religion says is impossible, the mind approves. What the religion says is possible, the mind approves. What the religion says is necessary, the mind approves. What the religion said is lawful or unlawful, the mind approves and does not invalidate it. Allah praised those who use their minds and dispraised those who do not. There are many verses mentioned throughout the Quran in which Allah orders us to use our intellects and praises those who do. Allah encouraged his slaves to look into his kingdom to know about his greatness and majesty. He said, أَوَلَمْ يَنْظُرُوا فِي مَلَكُوتِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Did they not look into the kingdom of the heavens and earth? The looking in this verse refers to thinking, contemplating, and considering. Allah also said, إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار. Surely within the creation of heavens and earth, and in the difference between the night and day, there are certainly signs for those who have sound minds. Heavens means upper world. Earth means what's lower than the heavens. We say as-samawat, it means everything that's above for us, from the sky up. When we say al-ard, it means like the earth we're on and what's under. And the difference between the night and the day, surely within the creation of heavens and earth. وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ, and in the difference between the night and the day. That means that they alternate. The night comes, then the day comes, then the night comes, then the day comes. And it also means that they extend, they get longer and shorter. So now for me, the day is getting short and the night is getting long. I think for some of you, it's the reverse now. That's اختلاف الليل والنهار in the Quran. Surely within the creation of heavens and earth and in the variance of the night and the day, there are certainly signs for those who have sound minds, those who remember Allah while standing, sitting, or on their sides, and they think about the creation of the heavens, of heavens and earth. Oh, our Lord, they say, you have not created this without wisdom. You are glorified beyond the ascriptions of the creatures. Save us from the torture of hell. Save us from the torture of the fire. The mind has its value, and the intellectual proofs must be considered. On the other hand, Allah dispraised the non-Muslims in the Quran for not using their minds. وَقَالُوا لَوْ كُنَّا نَسْمَعُ أَوْ نَعْقِلُ مَا كُنَّا فِي أَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ. The blasphemers will say after being put in hellfire, had we listened to the warning of the messengers as seekers of the truth, and had we used our minds by contemplation and reflection, we would not have been among the inhabitants of the inferno. In this verse, Allah shows us that the judgment of the mind is considered in the religion, that the mind has a certain weight and consideration. An-Nasafi said, وَأَمَّا الْعَقْلُ فَهُوَ سَبَبٌ لِلْعِلْمِ أَيْضًا. As for the mind, it is a cause for knowledge also. If it were said, had the mind been useful for achieving definite knowledge, that definite knowledge would take place for everyone who used his mind. But that is not the reality. Many people use their minds and do not achieve definite knowledge. Yani many people use their minds and arrive at a blunder, actually. So how can you say the mind promotes knowledge? The answer is the reason that definite knowledge did not take place for them is the invalidity of their application. As for correct application of the mind, meaning looking into facts properly, it is in itself a cause for definite knowledge. So how could somebody think and then come to the conclusion that the creation has no beginning like the creator? And then he's included, according to some, amongst the intelligentsia. Because he didn't look into the facts properly. Intuition, or yani, so the Arabic word is badiha. Badiha means immediateness. I want to look real quick here in the dictionary. Here, let's look in Mukhtar al-Sahah, also called Mukhtar al-Sihah. So badiha, that's going to be ba, dal, ha. Badahahu amrun faja'ahu, to be sudden. وبدأه بأمر إذا استقبله به, to encounter. وبادهه فاجأه والاسم البداهة والبديهة. So that's what badiha means. It means immediateness, suddenness, or instantaneity. I think I said that wrong. Instantaneity. I think I said it wrong a second time. So whatever is confirmed through badiha, using the word intuition, let's look up that word really quick here. It says intuition, a looking on, a sight or a view, but restricted to mental view or perception. Particularly and appropriately, the act by which the mind perceives the agreement or disagreement of two ideas, or the truth of things immediately, or at the moment they are presented, without the intervention of other ideas, or without reasoning and deduction. That's exactly what we want. An-Nasafi said, وَمَا ثَبَتَ مِنْهُ بِالْبَدِيهَةِ فَهُوَ ضَرُورِي كَالْعِلْمِ بِأَنَّ كُلَّ الشَّيْءِ أَعْظَمُ مِنْ جُزْئِهِ. Whatever is confirmed through intuition is necessary knowledge, such as knowing that all of something is greater than part of it. Whatever is established by intuition without the need to think is necessary knowledge. And this is knowledge by way of the mind. An example is as mentioned. What's mentioned here? Knowing that all of something is greater than part of it. And another is knowing that negation and confirmation cannot exist simultaneously. Yani knowing that a contradiction is wrong, knowing that a contradiction is invalid, realizing that if someone contradicted himself, that what he said is wrong. Yani no matter how dumb you are, that one won't work for you. By this way, one is aware of his own existence. By badiha, one is aware of his own existence. This is, the animals have this. And he is aware of the fact that he has a choice to act. And by badiha, for example, you know that you're hungry. This knowledge is necessary knowledge, not inferred or deduced. Deduction. النسفي said, وَمَا ثَبَتَ مِنْهُ بِالِاسْتِدْلَالِ فَهُوَ اكْتِسَابِي. And whatever is confirmed through deduction is inferred knowledge. Yani is, yes, iktisabi, is earned knowledge. Acquired. Inferred knowledge is the knowledge that takes place because one applies his faculties. He engages his intellect, looks into premises and conclusions, listens, shifts his eyes, and similar physical matters. Processing his information there. Yani, he's processing ideas rather. Shifting his eyes, face is twitching. An example of proper inference is to say, a prophet among the prophets performed acts that defied nature and could not be discredited by those who belied him by doing what is similar. Yani by them doing what is similar. The one who does such acts must be believed. Muhammad did such acts, so Muhammad must be believed. And the same is said about Musa, Isa, and other prophets. So that's a sound inference. This proof is composed of a major premise, a minor premise, and a conclusion. Yani think about it like a math problem. So your major premise is the first number. The minor premise is the second number, and the conclusion is the answer. If the premises are true and they're put together properly, if the premises are true and put together properly, then the conclusion is true. Evidence is that which, when investigated properly, leads to the knowledge of what is sought. If it were a known matter, or to verification of the soundness of a speculation, if it were a speculative proof. Meaning, we're here talking about a formula, a math problem. 1 + 1 = 2. But we're talking about, instead of numbers, sentences. So you take your major premise, your first sentence. It could be a fact, or it could be a speculation. Then you bring your minor premise, which also could be a fact, or it could be a speculation. So when you put the two facts together properly, then your conclusion is going to be what? A correct fact. And if you put the two speculations together properly, your conclusion is going to be what? A correct fact? The answer is no. That case, what you're going to have is what? A speculation. The answer is going to be a speculation. Why? Because your premises were speculation. What you're basically saying is, this thing, I'm very confident of its truthfulness. And this second thing, I am also confident of its truthfulness. So confident that I'm willing to work according to it. I'm actually going to take it. It could possibly be wrong, but you know what? I'm gonna take it. And then you take that first speculation, which is your major premise, and then your second speculation, which is your minor premise, and then you put them together and you come to a correct answer, meaning you did the math right, your math is correct. Then what do you have? A correct speculation. The end, it's still a speculation. It doesn't graduate into becoming definitive fact of knowledge. Is that clear? We say that the miracles performed by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam are confirmed, and they were created for him as an indication of his truthfulness in claiming prophethood. Likewise, the occurrence of the world is proven through such inference. One would say everything that changes is an event. This world changes. Thus, this world is an event. So that's a valid, proper, correct inference. The premise was true indeed, not speculated merely. The second premise was also true indeed. And then when they were put together correctly, we came to a conclusion that is true indeed. Thus, this world is an event. Every event needs someone to make it occur. Thus, this world needs someone to make it occur. And look at the simplicity of that. Don't be deluded by the simplicity of it. From that simple reasoning, that's a door for a lot of knowledge. That's a door for a lot of comprehension, understanding of things. Don't take it for granted. Don't say, I need something more complicated. Sometimes some people, more than one, they ask a question. I give them the answer. One person even was very clear here. I gave the answer. So that person said, I think it's something else. I think it's more than. Like sometimes, when you say to someone asks you something, you say, it's like this, you say, that's easy. Yeah. Don't reject it because it's easy. Inna hadha dina yusr. Indeed, this religion is easy. Really, you want to break everything down to its simplest form. You want to see everything in its simplest light. Then go from there. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. Yes.
My question is, you asked the question, speculation, and speculation does not make it into a fact. So I'm trying to understand, if it was speculation and fact, and let's say the
then
fact,
you're going to have speculation on the at the end, unless either you're going to if you have nothing to take your speculation out of the realm of speculation, cannot take your speculation out of the realm of speculation and bring it into the realm of confirmed fact, then your answer is going to be a speculation. But remember that speculation has range. Some speculation is so strong and others are so weak. The ijtihad of the mujtahid is a speculation. When Shafi'i said, you have to say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim in your Fatiha. That's a speculation. Malik said otherwise, and Abu Hanifa and Ahmed, 3 of those 4 imams, said you don't. And that's speculation on their part too. But it's so strong because of how they arrived at it. Both sides. One of them is stronger than the other, but for us, both of them are so strong. That's why those are mujtahids. Because either one of them, if they presented their argument to us from beginning to end, it works. It's consistent. A Shafi'i will say, my conclusion is that you have to recite Al-Fatiha in your salah, or your prayer is invalid. That's my conclusion. And I got to that conclusion because, and then if he broke down for you his entire process, then at the end you'll find it consistent. He didn't contradict himself. And then you'll say, okay, ahlan wa sahlan. And same thing then if Malik and Ahmed and Abu Hanifa said, our conclusion is that you don't have to recite Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim in your prayer, That's our conclusion. And we arrived at that because, and then if they shared with you all of their process to how they got to that, also you will find it consistent. And still, though, one of them is stronger than the other, but you have to be in their rank to be able to determine that. So if you have speculation there, then your speculation is not going to become a determined fact. So you're going to then arrive at an answer that's a speculation, but it could be very strong, very, very, very strong. And remember, by the way, here, speculation doesn't mean wrong. Speculation means it could really be right. It really, really could be a true, authentic fact, but you don't have the definitive evidence for it. You don't have the definitive evidence for it. When Ash-Shafi'i said you have to say the Basmalah, he could really be right in reality. And when Malik said you don't have to, he could really be right in reality. So one of them could have really arrived at the true, actual fact through his speculative evidence, but he doesn't have the definitive evidence. He just has all the clues that brought him close to the fact. And then he said, I'm so close. Look, there's that fact right there. Look at that. I think that that's right. I think that right there, that's what's correct. But he's still not 100% sure. So did I answer your question or did I miss your point? I mean,